Hi, I'm Nisha DeGaring, host of Good Things Utah, and I've been a longtime supporter of Todd's Beliefcast. I hope you find inspiration in the courageous stories shared by the amazing people Todd features on his show. The guests serve as shoulders for us to stand on, allowing us to see a little further and cultivate belief in oneself. Remember, you have the dignity and power to change. I encourage you to keep striving and believing in yourself. Enjoy today's podcast.
I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to the incredible sponsors of the Beliefcast podcast. First, Craig from Craig Swap & Associates. If you need an attorney, he's your guy. Trustworthy, compassionate, always there when you need him most. Next, Wasatch Recovery, the greatest university on the planet, transforming lives one day at a time. Sandy from Minky Couture, the creative genius behind the most comfortable blanket you'll ever wrap yourself in. Comfort like no other. The visionaries behind Thread wallets. These wallets redefine style and functionality. Dave Philippi from Micro Plus, pushing the boundaries of nanotechnology and scientific research to bring us cutting-edge supplements for optimal health. The Ralphs and the Debenhams, creators of Mori Nutrition and Calm. Because if you're struggling with sleep, feeling stressed, or can't focus, Calm is your answer. Special thanks to the award-winning pianist Paul Cardall for his beautiful music that brings inspiration to every episode. And finally, Gab Wireless, letting kids be kids and giving parents the peace of mind they deserve. Right now, Gab is offering $25 off any device to new customers with no contract required. That's $25 off any Gab smartphone or smartwatch. Just go to gab.com/belief. That's where you'll get the best deal. That's gabb.com/belief. Thank you to all these amazing sponsors for supporting the Beliefcast podcast and empowering us to continue spreading positivity and inspiration to the world. And we are back, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Inspires Beliefcast. As always, I thank you so much for your support and for sharing our episodes with your loved ones. It really does make a huge difference. So many people have gotten help from the amazing guests that I bring on. And that just is the reason why I'm doing this, honestly, because we all need help. We all have our struggles. We all are trying to just be better. And I really believe that this podcast checks off all those boxes in those areas. So thank you for your support. And again, sponsors, I love you guys for believing in me. It means the world. Today, we are joined by Arno Kruisman.
Right.
Yes. And I'm saying it the English way. How do you say it in Dutch?
Kruisman.
Yeah, see, and there's no way I'm going to say it like that.
No, I get that.
Yeah, and Arno, we're so really blessed to have Arno today, and we have a mutual friend, Mark Richards, who got us connected.
Yes.
I know Mark thinks the world of you. I know you think the world of Mark, and you guys have known each other for a long time now, and we can talk about how you guys met, but I want to give a little background of Arno. He's a devoted father. He's a cancer survivor. He's a God-fearing man. His life is a testament to the power of perseverance and trust in the face of adversity. We're going to talk a lot about that. He holds a degree in civil engineering and an MBA, showcasing his dedication to both technical expertise and strategic thinking. He's fluent in 3 languages, which is impressive. I can barely speak English. His latest adventure saw him serve within the United States intelligence community. I can't wait to talk more about that. And he has a motto, and I love this, by the way. It's far greater to be trusted than to be loved.
Yes.
Which reflects your core belief on the value of integrity and reliability.
Yes.
Which, thank you. That's what I'm trying to teach my clients constantly. So I love that. I love that platform. We're going to get into all this amazing stuff. I know there's so much more to your life than what I just read, but we're going to hear it from you.
Okay.
So why don't we start, Arno, from talk about where did you grow up and tell us a little bit about your family.
I have obviously a mom and dad and a brother, an older brother. He's about 18 months older than I am. We look alike, although I feel like we don't, but a lot of people feel that we
Is he as tall as you?
He's just half an inch taller, so he's really 6'7". I'm just barely under it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I grew up in Annelles, born and raised there, obviously native. First 30 years lived there, and had a great youth. I don't reflect back on any really traumatic experiences, and I've done some serious work, and nothing comparatively what I see others go through has been in my past. I've had my share, but that wasn't one of them.
Yeah.
I speak native Dutch, and like I said, it's I don't know if you ever visited the Netherlands, but it's very, very flat and very wet. Americans come visit often. The comment will be, "So green here." It's like, well, you're going to find out why.
Because it's going to rain about
half
hour.
Yeah, it rains quite a bit. And Dutch are very friendly. My experience, Americans would maybe say, the ones I've worked with in the Netherlands, the Dutch can be considered sometimes rude because they're very straightforward in their thinking and their opinion. And a Dutch person will say an American is very superficial. That also has been interesting experiences. Because in Dutch person you say how you do, a question it gets an answer. So on how you doing is a question, and they know you're not really meaning it. So they get confused when you say, "Hey, how are you?" And then they're going to get an answer.
Like, you really want to know?
You really want to know?
You're going to hear
like,
it.
If you ask me, "Hey, how are you doing?" I say, "Well, I've got this little itch on my leg and it's not working." And it's like, well, they didn't want to know that. So that was interesting.
That's interesting you bring that up, because I think you're right, because here we'll go, "Hey, how you doing?" And everyone's good. Yeah. And I think we just say it to say it.
And the Holland says, "Good morning."
Yeah. And
whatever it is.
Oftentimes I'll ask my clients who are sitting where you're sitting, and I'll say, "How are you doing?" And they'll say, "Good." And I said, "Are you really?"
Right.
And then they kind of go, "Actually, I'm not. I'm actually struggling.
Yep.
Here's what's going on."
Yes.
And they get more into what maybe you're saying is, you guys just come right out front with it. Actually, I'm not doing very good right now because this, and
well, in general,
going,
it's like a question I want to answer that. So you post that question to a bunch of strangers, then you're a stranger. I'm not going to go into details, but why do you ask anyway? So good morning will be sufficient. Right? It's been my experience, and it's not right or wrong. It's not one is better than the other. It's just your cultural background. And the Dutch is just known for being straightforward, and they get confused when you tell them that was a rude comment. It's like, I didn't mean it rude.
Yeah,
you've gained a little weight.
Sure.
And people are like, that's rude. And I'm like, but you did. And it's almost like autistic behavior. Anyway.
Sure, yeah.
But it's been very. I find refreshing. I've had many comments when I was working as an engineer in the United States. My supervisor called me in about 3 months into my job, and he said we had a couple of complaints that we need to tone it down a little bit, and I wasn't really sure what he meant.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Yeah.
And later, like 5 months later, he calls me in again. He says, "Whatever I said 3 months ago, forget about it. They love it." And really what it was is they would come to me and it says, I need this project to be done. Can you finish it by today? And I would say, no, I can't. I'll have it done by tomorrow, but I won't have the time for that. Versus what I wouldn't say an American would say, but other experience would be like, sure, and then they would lie and it's not get done.
I'll tell you what you want to hear.
Yes.
But I'm going to actually tell you the truth.
The truth.
The truth is, I can't get it done by tonight, but I for sure can get it for you tomorrow. I like that.
Yeah. So that was an interesting comment.
Yeah, it's probably hard for people to get used to it first, but then it's probably pretty refreshing because it's like, you know what? I know where I stand with Arno.
Yes.
Right? There's no...
I don't change. It's just, you get me, especially with a certain religious group that I was part of too. It's like you don't drink. You're always there. It's always... Sure, you have your emotions. You have your rights up and down, and we all do, but it's been very common that Arno is reliable. And that's been... It's been a testament to me, actually, that I'm kind of not proud of a little bit. And it's like, at the time, it was just, what are you talking about? And now I can see that that's, the feedback is now coming. After many, many years, you see the people coming out. And for a while, I thought, I don't have very many friends. But now I've got a lot of friends. And there are rock-solid friends.
Yeah.
Deep connections. And I wasn't even realizing that.
Huh.
So
that's probably one of the benefits of being the straightforward. People know what they get from you.
Yeah.
And the ones that really want that, they connect with you.
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So how were you as a child? Were you do you had hobbies? What did you do?
I was a very active child, so I loved sports, but I grew up in the 70s and 80s, so everything was outside.
Yeah.
If you just wanted to do something, just open the door and explain to people outside and start playing. It's either kicking a ball or playing hide and seek or whatever it was with the neighborhood kids. Got into baseball quite heavily. For the Dutch, it's kind of unique. And loved that. A little basketball, but not much because all the sports are not related to schools. And so when you play a sport, you do it outside school and by joining clubs.
Okay.
And there's really no profession in there, so a lot of Dutch don't really go into sports other than soccer. Soccer is a big thing, of course, and I really don't like soccer as much.
Okay.
And
There's not very
play
many
tennis.
There's not very many 6'7" guys playing soccer. I don't
No,
think. Yeah.
other than goalies, right?
Yeah, yeah. Fill up the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
but
tennis?
I did play tennis. Yeah, my
Okay.
dad was heavily into tennis, and I loved it, but never really on the professional level. So I just enjoy being active, and I had a good inclination to sports. So most sports I play, I usually pick it up pretty good, and I can play on a not professional, like semi-good level.
Right.
And it's enjoyable, and I've
Yeah.
always enjoyed, and I still do. I still like to be active and run, and
Yeah.
I do like to be competition with myself versus with others.
Okay.
My son is the same thing. He says interesting. He doesn't like team sports as much, but he would like maybe going to the gym or rock climbing, things you can do yourself and challenge yourself. That is more me.
Yeah.
So
I love that. Well, you've accomplished a lot in your life. As a young child, did you have what were your dreams? Like, this is what I want to do, or did you not know it at the time? Was that kind of a
think
struggle?
like any child, it was. I wasn't necessarily a struggle. My dad was an engineer, or still is. Excuse me, and he had an engineering company. So I always tell it in a way for my father is that he wasn't there much when I grew up in the sense of being there for games and stuff, but he definitely created the environment where I can thrive in, and that's a compliment I always give him, because when he started a company, clearly it gave us the opportunity to work as doing photocopies or bringing drinks around or helping the secretary and whatever it is. Eventually, as an engineer, I started to do drafting and I became an engineer. If I would have chosen, if I were to choose right now, I might go into the medical field. But that's the path I chose, and it was almost like it was defined for me. I did have an inclination, of course, for math.
Okay.
In the 70s, the diagnosis of dyslexia wasn't there. You were just considered stupid, or at least the kids, right?
Yeah.
I stuttered. I was just not good at language and spelling, constantly misspelling, and it's so frustrating. You would write it out, I would read it, and I go like, oh, "That is correct." And literally, if I put 2 minutes away, pick it back up, and you see all these errors. It's like,
Oh, wow.
But I didn't make that link until I went to college. Then I got tested, and this clearly indicated like you got some issues here. And
Really? Wow.
well, that's actually, I don't call it an issue. It's a gift in another direction, right?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Dyslexia isn't. It's a label, and I don't really like those labels, but
Yeah.
you have to give it. And it became very clear the other day as I was sitting in front of a lady, and she was suggesting me to write a book, and I said I can already started it, and I was writing in English, but then my excuse to her was like, well, I'm really not good in languages, I'm not really good in writing and stuff. And she goes, hold on, English is your second language, and you're writing a book in English, and you're telling me you're not good in languages? It's like, Arno, make it clear. It's like, if your spelling errors are going to be there, that's where you have an editor for. You write, and the people edit.
Exactly.
You don't have to be good.
Yeah.
And for until that point, I consider myself weak in languages. And now I can say, no, it's quite the opposite.
Yeah.
And so it's been really a realization. It took me about 40 years to figure that one out.
Well, now you.
So that label damaged
Yeah.
me. Like people say, you're dyslexic, boom, and you follow that label the whole rest of your life.
Wow, I love that. That is such a good way to look at it. I had a client of mine, a former client who had dyslexia, that was diagnosed when he was in 4th grade. I'm meeting with him when he's 30 now, and he's still calling himself that. And I said, don't ever say that again. And I said, I just helped him reframe that in his head.
Yep.
And to this day, he'll tell you the dyslexia is non-existent.
Right.
All because he started telling himself a different story.
Right.
And same with what you said. Not a fan of labels.
Right.
I get it. There was an issue there for sure. We're not going to deny that there wasn't an issue. There was. But he goes, man, I've been telling myself for this for 20 years. He goes, why am I doing this?
Yeah, you can feel
And it really helped him break out of that.
Snap out of it.
And here you are, you're now fluent in 3 languages.
Yeah, but and for a Dutch person, that's not uncommon. In the United States, it's like, oh my gosh, that's wonderful. In Holland, it's like you're just average, right? Now, I would say my English is far greater than the majority of the Dutch people. And so my German is lacking a little bit. And so
Sure.
how fluent are we really, you know what I mean? But most people don't speak German, so they can test you, right? So, but it's officially 3 languages fluently, and I speak a little French here and there. But it's just, in the Dutch go on vacation, and nobody outside the Netherlands speaks Dutch. So if you're a 16-year-old boy, you're going on vacation with your mom and dad, and you're in Italy, and you see a beautiful girl,
Yeah, right.
and she doesn't speak Dutch, you are willing to use hands and feet to make it clear that you like her, right? So, whatever language needs to go. And that's how I learned. It's the use of a language, not through school.
I love it.
But because not because of dyslexia, but I excelled in the math. That came very easy to me, and so I stepped into engineering and I enjoyed it. But I say it in a funny way that engineers and accountants usually lack a sense of humor. And I do have one, and so I don't really fit the crowd very well.
Okay.
So I've kind of grown out of it.
Yeah.
So I choosing to do an MBA and then work in different fields. And right now I'm doing finance as a CFO as my main gig, and then switching into coaching. But that's a different discussion.
Yeah, we'll talk about that as well. No, thank you for sharing that. That's really really awesome. So you obviously you had two parents. What were some of the lessons that stand out to you that you learned from your parents?
My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and she was always there for us. I mean, she was very classical. See, a lot of people would describe her as like a lady Di. It's like a really royalty in her. And she was always there. Always, she came home, was always there with a cup of tea, and took care of us in the morning. Even when I was older, would make breakfast for us. And she was very reliable. Came to all the games. She was just always there for myself and my brother. My dad was more absent. He was just working a lot, running his own company, and good or bad, he just wasn't there much. But on vacations, he was there, and he was strict. My mom was also strict. There was respect, and there was a lot of privileges if you just live integrally.
Yeah,
and they certainly lived up to their bargain.
Yeah,
they were wonderful. They gave us a great environment for us to thrive in, for both of us, which was our choice to step into that.
Sure.
They didn't do the work for us, but they definitely gave us. So I would say I had a great youth. I really have no complaints in that section at all.
Is that what kind of formed this motto that you've kind of bought into, that it's far greater to be trusted than to be loved?
No, that's a feeling I got after I served a mission for a church in England, and my mission president actually stated that, and that is so true, because I just imagine that if you have a responsibility over a big group of people, you know who you can rely on. We know who the trusted ones here.
Yeah.
You might love everybody.
Yeah.
But love isn't the same, right?
That's a good point.
Love is everything. But I will not give it to you because I can't trust you, or at least you haven't proven yourself yet.
Yeah.
And so if somebody says I trust you, that to me is a greater compliment to say I love you, because that's, especially when it comes to God, that's a given thing.
Yeah. So you're living in the Netherlands, and then you meet Mark Richards.
Yeah. Well,
let's talk about that meeting.
It was that a lot of things happened before meeting Mark Richards. Actually, because Mark Richards came after the picture.
Okay.
So I was, like I said, I had a pretty healthy youth. Not really any medical. I had a broken bone, normal things everybody has. And about the age of 21, I detected a lump on one of my testicles. And I was kind of embarrassed. I was hoping it would just go away, but after a few weeks it didn't. So I went to the doctor, and then obviously he was concerned, and I went to a urologist, and he was really concerned. And so we did. I had to get it on the surgery, and discovered it was cancer.
Wow.
And after that, you get into a period of they want to watch you, and they give you it was oils in your lymph nodes and CT scans and blood work, and it was rigmarole. And then about 5-6 months later, they called and said there's a spreading, and you need to come in, and we need to start the chemotherapy.
Did it spread to the lymph nodes? Is that
they never said lymph nodes to me, but it was right at the bottom of my. Probably, I don't know, I'm not a medical profession, but I used to say around the lymph nodes, but it wasn't in the lymph nodes, because it would have been all over your body, right?
Yeah, right.
So, but it was constant. It was like the size of a golf ball was there. They discovered, and they said we need to treat that. Obviously, that was emotional. The surgery itself for the testicle, that was, I consider that a emotional surgery. It wasn't a difficult one, but it was. Especially my dad, who was very classical, he was more concerned about the reputation of the family, and so he kind of put it out that don't talk about this.
Really?
So it was a bit lonely too, and I obeyed.
Because it was cancer or the
Cancer.
specific kind of cancer?
No, well, both probably, but cancer
Okay.
itself, it just...
He just said keep it.
I don't know. Even in the 90s, my grandparents couldn't deal with it. Cancer was death in the past, right? And my grandma would never talk to me about this. And I even told my friends until chemotherapy, because then you can't hide it, right?
Yeah.
You're going to get bald.
Yeah.
I mean, the one I had was very aggressive. And so I lost all my hair and body weight, and it went very fast. And like in a 3-month period, I'm 6'7", I was like 160 in weight.
Wow, so
I
you
was
were
skinny.
thin.
I was skinny. You could the face, you could see that, right? That took its toll. Definitely.
Were you having thoughts, I'm gonna die? Like, did that thought scare you, thinking of dying?
No.
Okay.
When I got the diagnosis of the first cancer operation, no thoughts at all. Eventually, when I got the chemotherapy, I was really, it's like, oh, this just be 4 sessions and we're done. When I went when the third session was over, prior to the fourth session, the doctor told me it's not working. We're going to do surgery and then do more chemotherapy. And then I lost my hope.
Okay.
And then I thought, well, when is this going to end then? Because I had a clear vision that this is going to be over, and now there is no end to it. Because then they said surgery, more chemotherapy, and then whatever that means. And so, my heart sank deep when I heard that news. That was bad. That was not a good day. So actually, there's a prelude. There's on our podcast about this too, but there's a prelude to my story, how my dad got in touch with him. But that might take a little bit too much time. But my dad had a good friend from Iran, and he had a story of which his daughter was 2 years old, miraculously healed through a blessing. And my dad was semi-mutual friends with that gentleman whose name is Blaine, who lives in Houston and still does. And my dad had met him once, I believe, a very short period. And but he literally called him up and says, Blaine, my name is Rob. My son has cancer, and I want you to come over and give him a blessing. In fact, I bought you a ticket, and it's ready for collection at the airport.
Really?
Those days, you could still buy tickets for other people. Now it's not possible.
Yeah, you can't do that now.
No.
Yeah.
And then Blaine's was very surprised, and he actually recollected, because he's a very faithful individual, and he recollected too that reminded him from the story of the Roman legionnaire going to Christ, and then saying, "I have a sick servant," and Christ says, "Well, show me, and I'll go." It's like, no, you only need to say the word. That's sufficient. And then Christ saying, "Your faith is far greater than I've ever seen." I'm butchering the story, by the way, but in some that light is that this man had such great faith that made it possible for the servant to be healed from a distance.
Yeah.
And so when Blaine heard that, he said, "Your dad had so much faith. It was unbelievable." And then he said, "I don't need your ticket because my company's flying me out there. And in fact, I'm flying on the same plane." So that was an interesting coincidence.
Yeah, right.
At that point, my dad hasn't said anything to us why this man was coming. And so I remember on the Saturday night, there was some visits. He was there for dinner, blah, blah, some visits. And I was still active. I was still going out with my friends, but, obviously very skinny and bald, and had a big, cap on and stuff. And they said, "Hey, we're going to church tomorrow." And I go like, "Fantastic. Have fun." I wasn't a church going myself.
You're like, "I'm not going."
I never did. I wasn't anti-church. I wasn't anti-religion. In fact, I went to a Christian school, and there was Bible class and all that stuff. But I wasn't. I knew the stories and somewhat, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
My parents never went, so it wasn't in our normal dues. And
sure.
And so they said, "We're going to church tomorrow," and I didn't make the link that they were going to church for me. And so obviously it's like, "No, your whole reason why we're here is you." And so finally I have to, in the Dutch sayings, the monkey comes out of the sleeve. The story has been now, this is the real reason. That's not a real, you can't translate that one.
Yeah.
The monkey comes out of the sleeve.
Right.
And so the next day we went to church with the whole group, and went to sacrament meeting, and afterwards we went to the bishop's office, and a blessing was performed. Can't remember who anointed me, but the bishop sealed and confirmed. Sorry, the bishop was who anointed me, and the Blaine was the one that sealed and confirmed the blessing.
Yeah.
And there were some missionaries there. My brother was there, my mom and dad, Blaine. There was a few people there, and I wasn't really. I was open, and I was grateful, but I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
And I remember being emotional, and almost like I was a bystander of the whole thing, but I was the focus of the blessing.
Yeah.
And to this point, I can't recollect any of the words he spoke other than one phrase. it will be taken away by the hand of a surgeon. And but I already knew that because I already have a surgery coming up in a week or two, and so it was. I was still. It's still a bit of a maze or like foggy, what happened in that moment, and time goes by, and I go to the hospital with my mom, and do the rigmarole. It was, I think, a CT scan and X-rays and all that stuff, and. This time, my regular doctor wasn't there, but his supervisor was there, so his boss, I guess, or the higher ranking one. And we walked in, and he had 2 X-rays on the wall, and we sat down, and he said, "It's gone. Wow. Your cancer disappeared. You are in full remission." And I look at him, and I look at my mom, and I'm flabbergasted. And the first thing my mouth was probably, it's like, "Do you have the right person in front of you?" Yeah. And he goes, "No, yeah." Well, he obviously he got up and he pointed the X-ray. So this is your name, and right there, cancer, and this picture has none. Your cancer is gone. And I can't express the emotion other than by saying, it's like you're going to college for the first day, and you're handed a diploma. Yeah. But you didn't do anything. It's like, what did I do to deserve this, right? Yeah. And I was silent. I was processing. I was trying to figure it out. What the heck just happened? And I remember sitting in the car with my mom, and I look at my mom and says, "Do I have to go to church now?" And I was silent. And it wasn't a clear voice, but it was a feeling, emotion came over me that said, "This was given unconditionally. There's no expectations. Wow. If you go to church or not, that's up to you. But if you choose, you're not going to get it back." And so not only did the blood, and on top of that too, is because that chemotherapy actually, the doctor said would surrender me, or I don't think the right word is that, make me sterile. I wouldn't be able to have children. And to this day, I've got 3. And so my answer to that is that God didn't only take away the cancer, but he also took away the effect of the chemotherapy. And ever since then, I've been clean. I have no issues. I live a healthy life. And so grateful for that for that moment. I don't know how to express that, the love I felt and the care, and I get it that other people really want that and don't get it. I feel for that. Mm-hmm. But I really express for the struggle I have for the period of time I did go to chemotherapy, how grateful I am before that experience. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to do it again. But it was such a beautiful blessing. And in fact, the word coach comes up, but friends I would meet, and you probably had the same experience of, if you've had cancer or you had a situation in your life, you meet a person that has it too, then you have a link, a connection, right? You don't have to go to details. You know how he feels or she feels, right? And I've had many people that were going to chemotherapy and they're still in the space of not being thankful. And I always say to them, there will be a day that you be grateful that you have it. That day came pretty quick for me then. And I'm still extremely grateful for that experience. Yeah.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. That's
awesome. And then I investigated, the church, because I wasn't a religious person myself, but and took my time. And in that period of time, even though, and I find it interesting because obviously here's your golden investigator. Yeah, right. He is their golden investigator. But the way the missionaries were treating me, there wasn't a push. It's almost like they were scared to ask me, Yeah. And I certainly know what the protocol was. So it took some time until Mark Richards showed up, and he was the one like, why the heck is this guy not baptized? Because nobody had asked me. Yeah. And I didn't know, am I not supposed to, And so Mark was bold enough to do it, and I was like, yeah, of course. And so that's how the ball rolling, and Mark and I are friends since then. Yeah, it's been 30 years.
Yeah, and from what I know of Mark, that is totally Mark, where it's like he's just going to tell you like it is.
He told me, if this guy's not choosing, I'm dropping him.
Well, and what's funny is that's why he loves the Dutch people so much, because they just say what they really mean and feel. Yeah. Just like you were saying earlier. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah.
And I took that to heart, because when I served the mission, I asked people, by the way, if you get an answer next week, I'm going to ask you to be baptized. And my companions will all be like, dude, what are you doing?
Like, whoa, slow it down.
No, it's clear intention. They know. Like, what are we pretending here? They know this. Worked wonderful.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Never had an issue with that.
So, was it age 30, if I remember right, when you came from the Netherlands to the United States?
Yeah, 32,
32,
something like that.
So talk about that transition and what made you want to come over here, and why did you, what was that whole process looking like?
I remained single for a period of time. I wasn't successful, I guess. I don't know how to express this, but I desired a relationship, but just never came about to find the correct person. Certainly carry my accountability in this. I don't have an answer. People say, why are you still single, right? And it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And we're getting to this age that I really felt like, it's 32. I'm not saying that's too late, but or too early, but it's like it's getting time to start a family, right?
Yeah.
I visited. I had a good friend of mine lived in Boston, and I visited her, and we went, traveled a little bit, and then on the Sunday I went to church, and that's where I met my former spouse. I call her my former spouse because the ex has a negativity to it, I feel.
Sure, yeah.
Because she's somebody that's a good friend of mine now, so therefore I call her former spouse, or even by name. I met her in church, and we dated long distance. She lived in the United States, I lived in Holland. The Dutch do get a comfortable package of PTO time. That's by law. I think his minimum is 4 weeks per year from the get-go, not build up. But most get 5. So you have some time, and I worked for a very generous employer at the time too, and then he was totally for it. And so I would come here for 2 weeks. She would come over for 2 weeks, so we dated back and forth.
Yeah.
And then we decided to get married, and she's obviously an American citizen. And in my head, was say, I can't expect her to move here if I'm not willing to move over there. So you have to be willing to do both.
Yeah, sure.
If I'm a skinny, if I want a person that is in shape, then I gotta offer the same thing, right? I can't be opposite. And so that we lived in Holland for about 6 months, and then we decided to take a fortune here. And that was about was when I was age 32.
And then you lost all your PTO.
Yep, pretty much.
There goes those 5 weeks.
There was the benefits are gone.
You're like, we have to build up to what?
What? 1 week when I start? No.
Well, the reason why I asked that question, if we go back to the experience you had with the cancer, the blessing, meeting Mark, getting baptized, going on your mission. Obviously, at that time, especially, man, now God's a big part of your life.
Yes.
Were you relying on God in those moments too, where hey, I'm going to take this leap and I'm going to go over and live over here in America? Is that part of the process of having God involved, I guess?
Yes, I would say constantly and more so than ever. But my attitude is when when I talk to people or coach people too, they would say, I want to do what Jesus wants me to do. I want to do what God wants me to do. And then I put a picture in their mind, and it's the same for me. It's like, if God is your father and he was physically stand in front of you, and you would ask him that question, what do you think his answer would be? And the answer is, what do you want to do, sweetie? You make your choice. Now, if you're going in the wrong direction, then I would love God to say, hey, pay attention, this might not work.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I don't always go on my knees for everything and ask, is this the choice I should be making? I sometimes make the choice, and if it works out, then I made the right choice. Yeah. That works.
Yeah.
So, God is a huge part of my life. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not that person that needs to pray about every little thing.
Yeah.
And some people, feel that they do, and that's okay.
Yeah. God gave us a mind.
I see him as a parent
yes.
that has given me all the love and trust, and make your own decisions. Make your own life. What do you want to do?
Love that.
Well, this is what I want to do. Is it okay? Go ahead.
Yeah. So you have 3 children, is that?
I got 3 kids, yes.
3 kids. Tell us what it's like what's the best thing about being a father?
Wow. I mean, obviously, it's a lot of work. Gosh, my firstborn, the baby, it's just like the overwhelming love you feel for. That's something you can't describe. Like the first time you hold your firstborn in your arms.
Yeah, I know.
Changing the diapers, everything is just like, I mean, it's disgusting for others, but young kids, like, no big deal.
Yeah.
No big deal. Yeah. The smells, everything just came with it. I loved it. I loved every moment. And I was a very, very active, involved father, and still am. And I finally see, not finally, that's not the right word. I did the best to my consciousness, but now I can see how my kids are really doing so well.
Yeah.
And they have a good balance, and they have their own struggles.
Yeah.
In fact, my middle daughter, I keep using her, but not that my other kids don't have an issue. But she dealt with suicidal tendencies.
Okay.
And she has a beautiful podcast, how she overcame that. And that was a huge part of that. And I wasn't even realizing it, but I did.
Sure, yeah.
It was beautiful. When we want Miss Area?
Please, yeah,
so
if you don't mind.
My daughter is gifted in a form of sight.
Okay.
And knowing a lot of people that have that gift sometimes have very struggling youth. Not all of them, but they have some moments, and she dealt with suicidal tendencies. We knew about that. She was on medication for a little bit. Obviously, she knows we loved her, etc., etc. But she wasn't completely forthcoming how serious it really was. Right? You only catch like the note and a little bit, and she's still downplaying it. And I remember we spoke it earlier before we walked in about the training. My former spouse did first.
Yes.
And I did it after. And about a year, my daughter, she wasn't old enough at the time, but when she's age 16, she chose to do the same training.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then about a year after, she did a podcast, and then she told the podcaster that in her mind she had decided that this training doesn't work on men in my life.
Wow.
And the only reason she said she did the training, he said, what really shifted for her, she said, wasn't that my parents, she knew that we loved her. It wasn't all the advice we gave her. I mean, her words were, when I saw my dad take himself on, like really work on himself, that's when she decided, well, if he can do it, I can do it. Dang. But don't get me wrong, I didn't do it for her. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I was doing it for me. I was finally choosing me.
Yeah.
And not sacrificing everything. And I changed, apparently, because I didn't feel like I changed that much. But I've changed, apparently, for her to decide to do this. And that saved her life. And now she's walking around and tell that story. And she's such a beautiful, and far more developed than I was at age 16 and 17. And she's such an inspiration now. And my other kids as well. But that's a specific story I tell because that's her experience in this. And I always ask permission before sharing. But I have full permission on that one because it helps, right?
Yeah.
Anybody dealing with suicidal tendencies, there is a way out.
There is a way.
But it isn't about telling you love your daughter. It's you choose you, do your life, and show your kids what it is to do so, and then they might choose the same, and then snap out of it.
Yeah.
So
we're training our kids without us even realizing it. They're watching us
constantly.
Obviously, your daughter was watching you, saying, "Oh my gosh, my dad took on himself." Yeah. And look what he did. He improved here, and here. Yeah. That is amazing.
If nothing else, you would say, I became more childlike, not childlike. Yeah. Yes. I was dancing again. I was having fun. I was doing things that there weren't adult-like. You know what I mean? And now I do stuff and it's quirkiness. I'm funny. I do want to be free, and the people don't like it, and I don't care. Yeah. I'm having fun. Yeah. Appropriately.
Sure. Yeah. No, I love that. And I want to segue, when you came into my office, I have this book that's kind of, being presented on this shelf over here, if you will. It's called The Little Soul in the Sun by Neil Donald Walsh. Right. And we talked about our admiration for this book, you and I. Yes. Because it's one of my favorite books. It's one of your favorite books. Do you want to share why this book means so much to you?
Yeah, it's a simple story. It does challenge some people with faith with specific doctrinal overview of how it's supposed to go. But if you follow the line of the book, I won't reveal what the book is all about. I would love for them to discover it themselves.
Sure.
But the point is that the people that come in your life, they play a role to the point that they might not realize the role they've chosen prior to coming to this world. And so the evil person in your life might actually be an angel of light that came into this world and had to turn out the light so much that they really forgotten who they were and became that evil person to you so that you can have your experience that you called forth. Dang. Right? If you want to come to this world and learn how to forgive, then something has to happen to you. And that something needs to be done by somebody. And seeing the person for evil, when you finally realize no, they did a service. Yeah. Then the roles are flipped, and it's now your job as not only to forgive, but to wake them up and say, hey, by the way, thank you for doing that. So my experience was literally, and I followed it, not to follow the instruction, but to follow my feelings, that I'm also divorced, and like I said, but talk to you, is like we had a tolerable relationship. We tolerated each other. I kept clear boundaries, but it wasn't. We weren't fighting or arguing, but it wasn't a friendly. It was fake, superficial, and then she chose to do a training, what my daughter did too, and she changed. I mean, she changed significantly to the point that I was wondering. First, I thought, how long is this going to last? Like a month, 2 months?
Yeah.
This has been 5 years now. She's still changed. And so I chose to do the training as well. And then I realized that experience that she gave me is what made me.
Yeah.
And even though my cancer and my divorce were probably two of my darkest experiences, and I'm in the U.S. by myself, I have no family here, my kids are here, and so the only reason what I have are my children. And the church I was part of, there was, and I don't mean it in a negative way, but there was absolutely no support. I had nothing. I had 3 little kids, 9 months old, 3 and 4 or something like that. And I got up in the morning, 9 o'clock, go to church, brush their hair, baby, feed him a bottle, and absolutely nobody in the world ever extended a hand and said, can we sit next to you? Can we help you? Or prepare a meal. And not that I was expecting it, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
And so, and I really say thank you for doing that, because it was almost so extreme that looking back, it's like, wow, that was really quite experience. But having all that and bringing it forward into time, I literally called up my former spouse. Her name is Aubrey. And I said, thank you for what you did to me, because it made me the serene man that I'm now. Wow. Without her, I'm not me, or not the person I am. Yeah. And so I can complain how bad she did it. If you take that experience away in my life, then what lessons did I learn then?
Wow.
And so, and vice versa. You know, she would speak the same thing, but it's not about what she did and what I did. Obviously, we contributed to that divorce, but it's that lesson is a wake-up call. And I use it a lot all the time in coaching. That's a book I give away almost. In any coaching, it's like, wake up.
Yeah.
Be thankful that your darkest moments in your life are actually pearls in disguise.
Oh, wow. That gave me chills. Thank you for sharing that. It reminds me of a quote by Alan Watts. He says, when you're ready to wake up, you're going to wake up. If you're not ready to wake up, you're going to stay pretending you're just a poor little me.
Yeah. Right.
And that's what you did. You took on you.
Yep, I did.
You stopped playing the poor little you, if you would. You go through that, that training. You come across this book. And by the way, if you haven't read this book, if you're listening to this, you got to read this book. It's The Little Soul in the Sun by Neil Donald Walsh. I give it to my clients all the time. I've read it several times. I think it's a game changer.
It takes your power back.
It does. It's amazing.
You realize who you really are.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with you. It never was. You're perfect the way you are.
Yeah.
And you are made out of light.
Yeah.
And just the darkness that's come into life, they've just forgotten who they were.
Hey, read that quote out loud. What do you think of that?
The most delightful surprise in life is to suddenly recognize there is nothing wrong with you. Yeah. Well, it's actually a scripture. I've used it in church, and I get a lot of interesting responses for it. In fact, negative responses. And it's a scripture that Christ says, be ye therefore perfect. He doesn't say become. He says be.
Yeah.
So is it possible that you perfect as you are? In fact, I would ask them and say, if you have a butterfly, would you make a changes to a butterfly? No, it's perfect. What about a flower? And it's like, so are you willing to stand in front of God and say, you made everything perfect, but boy, did you screw up with me? Yeah. Or could it be that he didn't screw up, that you perfect? And the only one that holds you imperfect is you.
I love it.
You are doing it.
Yeah.
So stop.
Yeah. No, I love that thank you. I'll have clients first day sit here and read that out loud. They've just got out of prison or jail. They've been slamming heroin. And on day one, I'll have them read that. And they literally, 9 out of 10 of the clients that read that just start crying.
Yeah.
And I'll say, has anyone ever told you that? And they're like, no. So, I knew you would dig it.
Well, and the same with the book. And the next line would be saying is, just remember who you are. You've forgotten who you are. Same as that hook thing, right?
Yeah.
When he grabs his face and says, Peter. Oh, there you are. He'd forgotten that he was Peter, right? He was a grown man. If you've seen the movie, you probably recognize it. But Robin Williams was Peter, but he grew up, and then he came back in Neverland, and he just forgotten he was Peter.
Yeah.
Until he started remembering, and he said, "Oh, there you are.
There you are.
You've forgotten who you are." Yeah.
I love it. Wow, thank you for sharing all that. That's so good. I want to talk about your adventure of serving within the United States intelligence community. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I can share somewhat.
Just a little.
Obviously,
I don't want to get you in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point, right? After finishing my MBA, I was recruited and worked for the U.S. intelligence agency for a period of 6 years. I mean. And it was a fantastic experience, and you get trained up to the wazoo, and that was
I bet.
It was fantastic family, but it took me away from Utah. I did visit a lot, but that's also gave me to rediscover myself, because when you're in a situation, especially in a marriage where it wasn't healthy, I really sacrificed to the point that I lost myself. I wasn't me anymore. And so when the divorce was over, I think everything was over for me. I'm not eligible. I was 38. I'm a loser. I lost everything. I've broken everything, and life is over for me. This is stupid. And I was just going to work and be depressed. And when I was outside Utah, and God pushed me to do that, by the way, because I didn't want to. He literally broke my car. He literally pushed me. I mean, he didn't obviously cut me out of bed or anything like that, but it was very clear. It said, if I don't do this, it's going to just get worse. And so when I got there, I found out that I'm very eligible, and there was nothing wrong with me. But I need to snap out of it. And so nothing else. That was really great. But lots of good training, and great experiences. And I use those type of trainings in classes that I teach, sometimes combined with some military people. And then we take people to a rigmarole of finding out who they are through emotional. We can't go the physical things as much because we can't bruise people, but we go after emotionally to some, and then they realize where their boundaries are, or how quickly they gave up, and they're sometimes upset with themselves, and then I would process them and say, no, don't go there. You just found out where your buttons are, and now you know. Before you didn't. It's like your fight, flight, or freeze. Everybody has a reaction, and you might not know where you are until you face the situation. And so I know I'm a fighter. In the real stress and point, if somebody would come out of the woodworks and try to scare me, I might punch you.
Right.
I swing.
I'm the same way. Someone scares me, I'm throwing.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just a natural response.
It's a natural reaction. It's just not I can do. But I know that.
Yeah.
And that can, and I can use it to my advantage. Obviously, in the training, it's the best fights that you win is the one that you avoid. So you don't want to ever go in the fight. In fact, somebody else said the best way attack is the Nike attack. Is just run away. Don't get into fights. There's no point doing it.
Yeah, I often tell clients, if you never want to fail a drug test, don't do drugs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, it's simple. And same with fighting too, when you're getting yourself in. So a lot of it is awareness we teach, and then it's in general, the attackers, people that rob or commit crimes, are not professionals, and they have no plan B. A professional in our groups, we always process each other in college, and we have the what if scenarios.
Okay.
What if the doors close? What if the taxi doesn't show up? What if this breaks down? What are you going to do if this? And it's to the point. It's like, man, not everything is going to go wrong, but when something does go wrong, you have solutions.
Yeah, you're more prepared.
But if somebody is focused on getting your wallet and you broke his collarbone, that wasn't part of the plan.
Right.
And he has no plan, or she, they have no plan B.
Yeah.
And so that's, but the fact that you already have that physical interaction is that you didn't pay attention. And you either victimize yourself because you did something, like say you walk in New York and you wear a T-shirt. I love New York. Well, what are you saying to everybody? You're literally saying, I'm a tourist.
I'm a tourist. Come get me.
Yeah, and you're a target now. But you want to fit in. You want to blend in. You want to be, because the criminals are if there's a line. There's studies been done when you have criminals and they would have they would be shown the same type of people, and they would ask the criminals, who would you victimize, and they always pick the same.
Wow.
And so what are they doing? That is the pick out. Well, touristy clothing, have too many luggage in your hand, do it on your iPhone, have a sluggish movement, or just don't be swift about it. Don't fit in. It's like there's so many things. You just stop doing that, and you won't get attacked. They're going to attack somebody, just not you.
Just not you.
Right.
Wow, interesting. I had to have been a really interesting time of your life, just learning all that stuff.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and it's been highly uncomfortable situations at times.
I can
and
imagine.
we're very grateful for them.
Yeah.
And now I use them, and it's the awareness. Like I remember the first month I was there, go to a restaurant and just eat and observe, and then 7 months later, if you did a really big significant training, you came back and it's like, whoa, I know what he's up to. I'm avoiding that guy.
Wow.
It's your awareness, and you can't learn that from like a YouTube. Right? It's tangible.
Yeah.
Those are gut, like surveillance. It's a gut feeling. I drive and my gut goes, I'm being followed. Now that doesn't mean yet I'm being followed. Well, most of the time it's correct, by the way. And then I'm trained to know where to look for and where I'm looking for.
Yeah.
But your body tells you when something is off.
Yeah.
And to get fine-tuned in that is fantastic. I love that.
Yeah.
But obviously...
that intuition piece that's just so heightened.
Yeah.
Right?
And I'm actually feeling into doing a training where people get the experience of being followed on a high level. It is going to be some expenses to it, but there will be a lot of people that we call them ghosts. They think they're being followed, but they're not. But if you're on the edge, you're thinking this, and at any day for a month period, you're going to be followed. At one point, you're going to be on alert and looking for everything, right?
Man,
and you start saying, "Well, he's following me." He's like, "No, he just happened to go in the same direction. That wasn't him." And so it's funny to fellow students what they would see
I can
and describe, and it's like, "No, you weren't followed at all." And then when they really got followed, they didn't pick it up.
They didn't pick it up.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Wow, that's interesting.
But it's the senses. The body has the five senses are certainly not enough to describe what's going on.
Wow. So you've had all these amazing experiences in your life, and now you're doing some coaching.
Yeah. So the shift, right? It's a natural shift. It's been.
Yeah.
And so I have a very diverse career. Engineering, I've done IT. I'm an IT specialist. I'm CFO, the finances, and it also kind of indicates every 5-6 years I'm getting bored and I need to do something else that's challenging. So that's interesting by itself.
Right.
Something to be processed on. Okay, but it's just natural. People have come, and I just love when people are taking themselves on.
Yeah.
And especially, I don't know, even the upper echelons is where people are wealthy. I would say there's a lot of connection missing. People are not connecting anymore. And there's a lot of loneliness out there. And a person of great wealth might have, what would you say, lots of friends, but are after their wealth. They want to have access to their money. But truthfully told, they don't have any friends. They're lonely, single parent. And to actually have true friends that don't care about the money. Yeah. We all need to live. Don't get me wrong. The money's not the evil part, but it's that the loneliness I find, or people's stuckness and not letting go and not realizing there's nothing wrong with you. Yeah. Never was. And so whatever it is, you're holding on to, and it's time to let it go. And and then when they do, the magic. I just love the eyes change and the tears. And sometimes it's more than tears, more than they throw up because there's energy stuck in them, and then you let it go. It's not going to be messy.
That's cool. No, I love that. Integrity means a lot to you, and it kind of ties in with being trusted versus loved, right? Integrity, the way I interpret it, is it's doing the right thing when no one's looking.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Is that something that was ingrained in you as a child, or is this something that's gradually you learned as you've gone through your experiences?
I feel like somewhat has been ingrained as a child, but it's more living in me than ever before. And I double check even the words I speak, because usually when you ask people, tell them about themselves and you listen to the words, they reveal so much in their behavior and the words they choose. Yeah. Like I think. It's like, oh, this is a thinker. Yeah. Right. So listen, I feel for a change, maybe you should be here instead of here. Yeah. Right. And so integrity, even during the training. So if somebody asks me who I am, I would say I'm an integrous, powerful, honest man of light. Ooh. And it's pretty bold.
That is bold
to say.
But I love it.
But actually, I identify with that. Now, do I slip up? Yeah, of course you all do. Right? Yeah. But integrity to me is also keeping your word where nobody can check that you actually did what you said you were going to do. And because if you don't keep your word, then you have nothing. Yeah. Then you're lying to yourself. Yeah. It's like if I said I'll be there at 10 o'clock and I'm not at 10 o'clock. It isn't that there's no excuse for being late. It is that you lied. Yeah. It sounds harsh, but you could have renegotiated. You could have called and says, I'm going to run a few minutes late. But a lot of people, no big deal, right? No, it is a big deal because you said something and you're not following through. Now, integrity has levels, I would assume, like where we're at on the...
Right.
But I live with that word, integrity. And funny enough, that's the feedback I get a lot, that I find me very integrous. And I cringe because I love it, but I also feel like, oof, I just
pressure.
don't want to feel. Don't put me on the pedestal because I will disappoint you, right? Any human you put on the pedestal.
Yeah.
So don't do that, please, because. But I do love that you're saying it, but don't make me an example. Live your own life, please.
Yeah, no,
yeah, for sure.
No, very well said. Arno, if someone's listening to you right now who's in a dark place, they're struggling. They're tuned into this story of yours, which has been fantastic, by the way. What would you tell that one person who's just really struggling right now?
I don't like to use the word hope. And hope itself doesn't... hope is not a strategy. But hope does promote to do faith. And faith to me is action.
Okay.
And action leads to knowing. And so it's in the doing where you come out. You're not alone. The influence and powers around us are definitely strong. And there is definitely assistance out there. I avoid to use the word help because I ain't doing it for you. I've helped and coached people and they made tremendous changes, but they did it, not me.
Yeah.
I just sit next to you, and I'm willing to go all the way.
Sure.
But they do the work, and so I would say, the darkness is like, reach out, start talking, come out of the ground. Don't sit in yourself because that solution, doing it by yourself is not going to work. There is somebody out there that makes it, and if you are willing to even say it out loud, it will come into your life. But when you say that's another thing too. It's with possibilities, by the way. If you want to change, then God or the universe or whoever you identify yourself with will offer you solutions. But it's up to you to take them. Yeah. It's like the story of a guy sits on a rooftop because there's a flooding happening and the water rises. Yeah. And he tells God, I need a helicopter, right? Or I need to be saved. And here comes a rubber boat, and it's pretty full, and there's really not much room for him in. And they said, come on. They said, no, I'll wait for my helicopter, right? And he keeps doing that. Wood comes by, and all kinds of things floating by, and he keeps saying, and he dies, right? And he says, God, where's my helicopter? I said, God, dude, I sent you so much stuff. It just didn't fit you or your expectations. Yeah. And so if you have an expectation how this is going to get resolved, you might miss the entire thing. It's like these vision boards too, right? Yeah. I love vision boards. I don't have one. Because why limit yourself? If I said, I want a red Ferrari and that's my dream, sure. But are you open that maybe God has something way better for you? Yeah. And if you're not open, then you're limiting yourself. So do something.
I love that, Arno. And maybe the vision board, it's not the red Ferrari. Maybe it's a Honda Accord, but the money that you saved was able to use that to a single mom who was able to feed her family for a year.
Right.
I mean, what's that worth?
Every time I did a retreat in Colombia, and there was a lot of healing going on, and my intent was there, and I was facilitating partly of it, and my intent was there to walk with Christ, God, and also with Heavenly Mother, to at least feel them and see them. Yeah. And how they showed up was not my expectation, not my expectation at all, and I was so grateful that I'm able to say I'm giving up not giving up. I'm putting my beliefs on the altar, and then God take away what doesn't work and supply the stuff that is now working for me. So there are solutions out there. I had a gentleman, if you open for an interesting experience that I have. I was coaching him. I will definitely not mention his name if he listens. And he had a situation with his family. And it was very difficult. He was dating his best friend ex-wife. Okay. Right? And we're doing it for 2 years. The friendship was now not much of a friendship anymore, and neither could see the stepkids or the children. And so they wanted to get married, but they wanted the blessing from the best friend who hated their guts. And he said, I'm stuck. What do I do? Yeah. And I said, so in my coaching was like, well, what's not a possibility? And he says, I've done everything. And I said, that's a lie. And he got really upset with me. He said, "You're calling me a liar?" I said, "No. There's always another possibility. You're just not willing to look into it."
Yeah.
And it's like, I've done everything, and I'm not like this. And so we hung up. The phone was not a good. Wednesday phone call comes in, and we had another follow on this, and he wanted an excuse. But then they told a story about my former spouse, and there is other possibilities that you just don't see. And I said, "Please, what's another possibility?" He says, "I don't know anything." So I go, "Can you bake a plate of cookies and bring it to his door?" "Well, yeah, but that's stupid." I was like, "Don't go there. It's a possibility. It might not what you want to do. It's And then finally he started opening up. Didn't have anything to come forth.
Yeah.
He was open. Finally he was open. He said, "Okay, I'm open. I see what you're doing. I see." Next phone call, he says, "What just happened, Arno?" I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Not only did he bless the marriage, the kids came over for dinner." And I said, "What just happened?" And I told him, I said, "Your head will never figure this out. Your heart, that you finally were open and say, this part of your body, which I'm pointing to my head, will never figure. It's going to only operate from the past and the collection in it. Your heart comes from a space. I know that I know. Wow. Let me be in charge. Wow. And miracles will happen." And that's why I'm saying, you speak it out loud what you want, possibilities will come forth.
Yeah.
Your job is to step into them.
Yeah.
Because when you start driving, you said, "I really want that this and this and this," and you get this invocation, call this person. By the way, you got 5 seconds, because if you don't do it, the ego kicks in and it's like, "Nah, you already done that. You called that person last week. You're good." No. God gives you the solutions.
Yeah.
You have to do the work.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to do the work, you're going to be stuck.
Wow.
So darkness, I'm sure people that are listening to this are in that space. I don't find myself in it right now, but I can feel that. It's like, oh my gosh, I want to help you, but it's you. Reach out your hand, I'll grab it, and I'll pull you into the light, but I'm not going to go into the dark.
Yeah.
You got to reach out. Christ too, like you have to, his hand is reached out, you got to grab his hand, and then you get lifted up. But you got to do something, like you say with the door. He knocks on the door, but there's no door handle. You have to open the door. So there's an action that was required on your side.
Wow.
And there are solutions, but listen to your inspiration, and the way is out there for you. Wow. I'm more than happy to assist in many of these directions too, if that's the case.
Yeah.
May I mention what?
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, is just how could people get a hold of you, Arno, and learn about what you do in your coaching? Yeah,
so the coaching we launched is called mecoaches.com, mecoaches.com. The website's in development, but it's active. You can totally reach us now. And it's a couple coaching. So it's also, we're very careful with genders. And so, a few weeks ago I did a podcast. It was my girlfriend. Now it's my fiance. Next podcast will be my wife. But nice. We do it together. So we both have energy, and we really play with each other on a very natural way, where we coach people. But I usually coach the men, and then she coaches the women. But they're also able to be coached by both of us.
Sure. A
possibility there. So there's a reach out possibly there, and then that's how we coach. So mecoaches.com is a way.
Awesome. And I'll put that link in the show notes when we go live, and they can click right to it and get to you and learn more about what that is all about. So
I mean, that's very individual, personal coaching. I also do the business coaching for for business itself, because I have a lot of experience in that. But that's why my heart is leading to the true on coaching and the shifts that people make, and I'm just loving it. Yeah. And the people ask me what the costs are, and your butt's going to be on the line. That's what I'm always saying. Your butt's going to be on the line, because if you're not for real, then you're not going to go anywhere. This is not free, but it doesn't have to be expensive either.
Right. I love it.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing, man. It's been so great to have you on the show.
Well, thank you.
Arno, seriously, you've lived an incredible life. You've been through a lot, and you've overcome, and you're still fighting through things. And I love the part when you said, when your daughter said, "You took on you." That hit me so hard. I'm like, and anyone out there, if you're struggling, take on yourself. Like, meaning, work on just being better, whatever that looks like. And maybe Arno and his coaching can help assist in that area for him, right?
Email me, give me a contact. Maybe I can point you out to. There's some trainings that I look. If you come to me and or McCall, this is my fiance. We recognize our capabilities and where we have strengths. It's like, this person needs to do a training, or this person needs to go to a retreat. There are some other works that we can't do and will not take on.
Yeah,
and we'll send away. Maybe they have addictions issue. Then go to Mark. Yeah. Go to you guys, because I'm not an expert on overcoming addictions. I've overcome smoking and all that stuff, but I'm not. I've never lived in the world of deep drugs and having addiction problems like that, so I don't relate. But I later other stuff, so I call like, I know some really good people. So a lot of it's referrals.
Sure.
I can do, but I can point you in the direction. So please reach out. We'll
Okay.
definitely refer you to the locations
Yeah.
I feel like they might actually work for you.
Yeah. Okay.
For
Awesome.
sure.
Well, you're a great man, Arno, and I appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming and taking some time. I know you're a busy man, so it means a lot that you'd come on my show. Obviously, Mark speaks very highly of you, and if you're a friend with him, you're a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And it's great to learn more about you face to face.
Yeah.
This is a powerful episode, and I thank you for your insight and for your vulnerability.
Thank you.
And for your honesty. I love that you're straightforward and you just speak from your hip and say, here's where we're at.
Yep.
So
That's the
thank
Dutch in
you.
me.
Okay, well, guys, there you go. I told you today was going to be amazing. And say your last name again in Dutch.
Kruisman. Oh, Kruisman. Met
Yeah.
rolling R in the U sound. Kruisman.
Yeah, there you go, man. Doesn't that sound cool? I wish I could say it like that. No, you're amazing. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Please share this with your family and your friends. And again, thanks for your support. Again, to my sponsors, love you. Thanks for believing in me. Until next time, everyone, take care.